go to trichology school and get your practitioners. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, so let's kind of bring me back in the medical field and go from there. So this is the middle part. So the middle part is doing really, really good. So a couple of thin pieces of protein will help with that. Okay. So and all of them have a protein. So influenza is Proplex, and I think Affirm should have a protein too. You're gonna do that just once a month. That's gonna start plumping this area here up. Okay. That's gonna strengthen that area here. You'll do it once a month for 6 months. But we will actually put that on a regimen for you, so that way you'll see. A lot of hair here. This is what I'm talking about, dead skin. Right here is dead skin. Okay. A deep cleanse is gonna get that off. Okay. That will get that dead skin off. This is what you're used to seeing, like 2 or 3 thick strands coming out. As the pore closes, then these strands get thinner, and it'll split the hair in half. One part will come out, the other part go up underneath. That's where thinning hair come in at. Okay, doesn't mean that the hair is not thick underneath, because it is. It's just that the hole is not big enough for the entire strand to come out. Okay. Right here, this is just some dead skin we gotta get off. Yep. So this has a little roll here, deep cleans, a lot of this here. Don't scratch that off. The body gonna feel like it don't have no skin, so it's gonna make more of it. Okay. So this is very good. You actually got 1, 2, 3 that's coming out of this pore here, which is pretty thick. This right here, just a little gray hair here underneath the skin that you cannot see. So we ain't gonna worry about that gray. We can color that.
I'll take all them gray.
You know what I'm saying? So here's what gray hair look like. It just come out very thin, but it's still growing. But the hair follicle here, the pores is almost closed up. Okay. Same thing right here. So this particular hair here is very thin, come out, and the other part is growing underneath. Okay. Same thing right here. The hair follicle here is very thin because the pore is closing up. Minoxidil and Omnivid, with those types of regimens going into that will kind of help, and we'll prescribe your actual doses for that. Same thing here. This is what you can't see, so it look like I don't have any hair. You do. You just can't see this with the eye. So another one here. All of this is growing. This is actually growing underneath the skin right here. Okay. So here's another one growing underneath the skin. Here's one that's crossing over underneath the skin. Okay. That's what we got to see and look at. Hair here, this one came out. This one is going underneath the skin right here. Same thing here underneath the skin here. You got this underneath the skin, and you got this long one underneath the skin. Okay, this is where that monoxide Omnivid opens it up for you. So it kind of gives you your CPR for a while until your body get regulated. That's where blood work coming at. Okay, so same thing here. This one made it out. This very weak right here. This one is growing underneath the skin. Okay. Dead skin here, deep cleanse or clarify. Now this one is actually, the pore is open, but the dead skin covers, so it looks like you can't see any hair here. So if you just, deep cleanse or clarify takes the dead skin off, it's like getting the stain out of the hole. So now then this particular area has oxygen to breathe more and grow out of that scalp. Okay. This one here, the pore here is almost closed up. It did make its way out, but there's some right here growing underneath. Okay, I just zoomed all of this in so we can kind of see closely. Here's one right here growing underneath the skin. Try to make its way out, but just growing on up underneath the skin. There's one right here that's very, very faint. You can barely even see it, but this would be the pore what it came out of. So it's just going to continue to grow. Okay, same thing right here. There's some hair here growing underneath the skin. That's why it's a hit and miss. Because the body get back regular and just open the pore automatically. Then the hair comes out. And then something happens, close it back up, then the hair fall out. And then that's where you start seeing like what is going on. And it happens like over time, over the years. And this is where your blood panel work start coming into play to see and to hit different types of strands. Okay. Dead skin here we can get off with a deep clean or clarifying. Some hair here, it didn't make its way out of the actual scalp, so that's really good. Just thin, we can get some protein and plump that up. One right here growing underneath the skin, so we can get that out. Here's going into the area that you say you don't see like you see anything. So right here is all underneath the skin that you cannot see with the eye. Here's a big one right here growing on underneath the skin. So there's one right there just growing underneath the skin. So until it find a hole that's big enough for it to come out of. And that's what happens. So you have a lot of strands here, a little bit of dead skin there, but here's some strands that's growing underneath the skin right here crossing over one another. Okay. Continue going into the top temple area here. This was a normal size. This is a medium size. We just gotta get that pore to open up. Some gray hair growing underneath the skin right here, and there's some gray hair here growing underneath the skin. Okay, these are all looking good. Just a little thin piece hair here, and one right here we just gotta get that dead skin there off. Hair here that you cannot see at all. When you feel like I don't see anything, but this is hair here that actually made it out. This very thin. So it's hard for you to feel. There, look at that thick strand right there that's going underneath. Okay? A thick strand just growing underneath the skin like, okay, I'm here, I'm alive. And so here's some hair here that actually made it out very thin. Here's some hair here because this is the pore where it came out of, but it's growing underneath. Okay? Look at how they say you cannot see. But it's actually growing. This one made its way out. Just a little bit of weak here. This pore here closed up, but here's the hair that's growing underneath the skin. Okay? Same thing here, that's growing underneath the skin. There's here growing underneath the skin. This one actually made it out. This one made it out here, but very faint, but it's growing, but it's still growing coming out of that particular scalp. So some more hair here. This one made it out. These made it out. Thin strands here. Here's a V-shaped one. This is the pore where it came out of, but so now just growing underneath the skin right there. Here's one here growing underneath the skin. There's another one growing underneath. There's one across here.
All of that from underneath the skin.
All that's underneath the skin. And so that's what I'm saying. It's still alive. So that's let you know it's still. See, this is what you cannot see either. But this hair here, it made it out and went back in. Okay, so now it's just growing underneath the skin. These right here made it out right here. Made it completely out. It's just a little thin. So we just got to open this up. All this here is hair that you cannot see. And you just think like, I don't have any hair there. There's some hair here that's growing. And there's one that's crossing over. Here's a gray piece of hair there. And there's another gray piece of hair there. Yeah. That's what you guys see. Look at this hair here. Growing underneath the skin. There's another one growing underneath. There's another one here that's growing underneath. Dead skin here. We can get that out. But here's the hair right here growing right there. I'm going to send all this to you too. This is how it start looking. It try to make its way out, but it's just too tight. So what happens is it just grow out underneath the skin. So it's like getting trapped in a hole and people thinking no one is alive underneath, but like they are, and you just can't see it because the hole is too small. And so you may hear somebody scream or yell. So that's what the hair is doing, saying I'm here. You just can't see me, but I'm actually here still growing underneath the skin. Yep. This is what you can't see. All this hair here. Hair here that's growing, hair, and we crossing over here. Yeah. So hair here you cannot see at all. So the pores, your body is actually trying to rejuvenate us on its own. You know, so your body is actually stronger than you think. You know, but when there's any type of stress levels, these doesn't last long. Okay, because they're already a little weak. Protein gonna at least strengthen it up to where even if you stress a little bit, at least it's still strong enough to go through that stress phase until you get back regulated. Okay, that's where the proteins kind of come and help with this. Okay, this is the area here that you cannot see at all, but you got some hair here, hair right here crossing over. Okay, you got some hair right here. You got a little thin piece trying to make his way out. Little baby trying to make his way out. Hair here that's crossing over. Here's actual a pore here that closed up, but then you got the hair right here growing underneath. There's another piece of hair here that's growing underneath. There's one here that's actually a V shape. Okay. So the hair here you couldn't see, but you have some hair right here that's growing underneath. This is underneath. This is underneath. There's one here underneath. This one made its way out. That one made its way out. See this little baby one right here didn't make its way out, so it just got stuck. So what happened is it just grew underneath. Okay, because the hole is too small. Same things here. A couple of gray pieces of hair right here. That's where the gray hair here is. Gray hair made its way out. Small one there. Look at it right here. This one made its way out, and it's gonna just continue to flow underneath. Yep. That's how hair is. See, this is what happens. This is what a stretch fracture look like. Okay. When it start bending like this to like a V shape, that's what a stretch fracture look like. It won't break off completely. It just depends on how much stress that you have. It'll keep bending. It's like a little wobble, you know. So it'll keep bending, and then sometimes it bounce back up just to be that curve. But sometimes when it stay bending, the stress is very heavy on that particular area. Same thing. This is how it gets started. It gets started with a little bit of a bend. Okay, this is a normal curve. This is going to that V shape. That's a stretch fracture. Okay. Hair here growing underneath the skin. Dead skin here, we just got to get that out, but there's some gray hair right here that's growing underneath, and there's one right here that's growing, but this skin is overlapping that. So we just got to clarify and get that off, okay? So a couple of stress fractures here, but it's not as bad. So apparently when you had stress, there's one right here too that's bending right there. Whenever you do stress, the particular area here got hit the most, like how a hurricane does, hit certain air houses. So it hits certain areas, so, and then some kind of make it. This one is actually pretty thick. So when it's pretty thick, it can kind of handle that stress a little bit. When it's thin, it's hard for it to handle the stress because it just start continue to bend and sometimes it'll break off. Yeah. So here, a little bit of stretch fracture right here. So you about to make it to that V shape, but it's a little thicker, so they're not going to a very stressful. Yeah, so very. So very, very stressful right here. So you can just tell what it's about to break a little bit more, but it didn't, so it's still there. But these here, whenever any type of stress, is just going to stay underneath, because what happens is as this pore closes up with stress, that's starting to happen. It'll start closing the pore up a little bit at a time, but then, you know, it won't make its way out. Okay? So, a lot of hair here that you just cannot see. A lot of hair right here. So all this is hair that you have here, hair here growing underneath. So I'm very excited, honey. I'm so excited for you, because I'm trying to tell you, you're going to send me a picture in about a month like, girl, I see some hair. Exactly. And so here's some hair here. Here's another stretch fracture right here, okay? Just around this area here, that's a little weak there. But we're gonna plump this up with some protein. So if you go through, and stress is a part of life, but try not to be too stressed, okay? Here's another one right here, but it's pretty thick, so it kind of made its way through until your body got back balanced out. So here's some strands here. We just gotta plump that up, okay? Some dead skin here, we just gotta get off. So these strands here are looking really good. Some half size, very thin one right here because the pore is almost closed up, okay? Here's one here trying to make its way out, and here's some here that's growing underneath.
And those pores can open back up.
Yes, that's where those two parts. Yes, that's what makes it. That's why it's not something that you be on all the time.
Okay.
That's just a CPR just to get to open back up until we get those other physicians to do their jobs and we get the numbers right. And then when they get that balanced out, then guess what? The body start rejuvenating on its own. They start weaning you off a little bit at a time. That's how it works and stay open. Okay. So taking off anything is putting the body in shock. Just like when they took you off of when you was on any type of birth control, they just you took it. That's a lot. That's drastic. It's like our gastric bypass patient. That's a lot. So when they go through that surgery and they see us, that's a lot. So they have to do so many supplements to accommodate what their stomach cannot take anymore. And that's what happens. And so when that happened, your whole body just went a whole another 180, just all out of whack until they had to try to get it under control. And with that being under control, then what happens is the estrogen levels are not where they used to be. They're not even telling you nothing about any of that stuff. And then they start adding things to the hairline, start receiving back and things like that. So make a little bit more sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make a little more sense. So the main thing, we need to see you got some hair, and you do. You do. And I'm going to send this to you because it's not even going to take you long at all. Hello everyone, thank you for liking and sharing and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, please put it in a comment. Hopefully this was educational for you to learn about alopecia, hair loss, diet and nutrition, holistic ways of how to reverse some of the things that is going through with your body. Also with your alopecia, kind of reverse some hair regimen that you have learned, talking about prenatal vitamins and things throughout as you've seen with our patients on these videos. So like, share, and subscribe. If you know anybody who need our services, you can definitely comment in the comment and we can definitely reach out with you. Our website and our email and our Facebook page is also in our description, along with our hair growth tonic that you may actually see throughout us talking about with our patients, and with our blood typing book where you're eating by your blood type. So any question you may have, feel free to put in a comment, put a thumbs up if you actually like this video, and share it with all of your friends. Thank you so much. You guys have a good day.